Beloved brothers and sisters, beloved friends, third Sunday of Easter, I would like to begin this meditation with some story about the gentleman who, not long time ago, came to me and said, "Father, do you see how lucky we are? Because we are not living in Toronto, Edmonton, Regina, but we are just here in Melville. How lucky we are." So I wasn't quite sure what kind of reason is that we should be lucky, but he quickly explained at the present time of pandemic, so indeed we are lucky being here in small city. Because looking at Regina, looking at Edmonton, or some other bigger place, bigger city, or huge city, so the people indeed are struggling with so many things, and it's really difficult for them, for example, even to get to Canadian Tire store, waiting long line for a long time. And we are blessed here. Still access is quite easy. So this is sense that we are blessed. People being living in small city town. And looking at our today's gospel, two of the disciples are walking from the big center, big city, Jerusalem, and they're ready to ended up that trip in Emmaus, 11 kilometers, small village. And the question is, are they happy and are they blessed making that decision? Coming from big center to the small town. And quick answer is no, they are not. They are not blessed. And decision is wrong. That's what we have to say. And my beloved friends, once again, looking at our today's gospel, we're trying to find the main reason and problem in this meditation. As you remember, trying to refresh your memory, last Sunday gospel, we're looking at the Thomas apostle, who was expecting some really strong proof that Jesus is alive. So basically, we can say, the last Sunday gospel of the second Sunday of Easter, it was about the faith. Thomas was looking for proof. The person who is doubting, and definitely his faith is not strong. As well, other disciples who were squeezed by the fear, and as you know, the faith and fear are not going along. And what do we have in our today's gospel of third Sunday of Easter? Once again, we are talking about the faith and what faith is. I guess the first step, which is telling me, or first action, which is telling me is I am the person of the faith, maybe not strong, but the faith, is the situation where I'm turning my eyes from myself. And this is first step and first action, what I have to do. And looking at today's gospel, two disciples going to Emmaus, what do we have in the gospel text? It's quite an interesting expression that they stood still looking sad, looking down. And sadness and looking down, I guess we understand perfectly. When I'm sad, I'm not smiling, looking above, but I'm looking down. But what do I see? I don't see a ground. But I see myself looking down with sadness. I see myself. And exactly what happened to them They saw themselves, and as Gospel again is telling us, they were repeating, this man, he's supposed to set Israel free, and our hope we place in him. And now what happened? Everything is gone. So that's why we are back, and we are on our way to Emmaus. Beloved brothers and sisters, the sadness, we know that feeling, and many times we are sad. But maybe it's good to make some reflection. If I'm sad all the time, my journey, my life is the journey. I'm sad all the time. So we can say we are going wrong direction. As we said at the beginning, the Emmaus was wrong direction. It wasn't blessing. They're running away from Jerusalem to Emmaus, and they are sad. So whenever I'm sad, I guess it's a strong indication I'm going the wrong direction. And also, what we have to notice here, looking at today's gospel, because the context is very important. In that conversation, actually, when they are revealing everything what happened to Jesus, because he is the stranger, and he doesn't know what happened in these 3 days back. So now is the great moment to just tell them and explain to them what they said. They said that the women really created some anxiety in them because they said they had the vision of the angel. And even another proof, the son of the disciples, people from our group, they went to the tomb and they proved, yes, what women said, they were right. It's true. So the question is, why they are here going to Emmaus? When there's some doubt and strong testimony, strong proof that Jesus might be alive. And angels were revealing that joyful news. Why? And here we are at a very important thing, looking at their mentality. They realize that to the glory, to the resurrection, we are entering through the cross. And again, it's hard for them to accept that fact. The cross and resurrection. So they don't want that idea. It's better for them to go to Emmaus, and all these informations they just putting on the shelf, rumors. We are not going to touch, to check is it true or not, because the glory, resurrection, and cross, it's hard for us to accept. So that's why at the beginning of our meditation, once again, we have sung about the cross. Each suffering makes sense, and giving fullness, life, history. And then Jesus is explaining them everything from the Moses, that all scriptures now are open for them. My beloved friends, many times we are like these two disciples, are picking the scriptures, whatever is in the scripture, and what is good for us. And the parts which are not quite good, we are putting aside. So we are building our faith, and how do we want to believe? And we're making that structure with things which are good. This is again my wisdom, and how do I believe or want to believe? And again, we're far away from true faith. The old scripture, everything what was everything what in the Scripture was about him, that Messiah must suffer and enter to the glory. And also at the end they recognized him when he was breaking bread at the table. And again, explanation, it wasn't the Mass, it wasn't the Eucharist. Jesus did not set the Eucharist with them. And definitely, they did not have an experience from that moment when first time he said the Eucharist with the disciples. But they recognize him, how he's breaking bread. How many times Jesus was breaking bread for the people? A very simple gesture. Very simple gesture. We don't know what kind, but very simple gesture. And my beloved friends, at the present time, the question is for each one of us, how do you want to recognize Jesus? What do you have to see? What kind of simple gesture you have to see and you recognize him? And we have to be ready for that. Every day we should begin with the question, what today good Lord is going to show me? What kind of simple gesture I will see and I will be able to recognize him? Just what left for us are the simple, very ordinary gestures. Because the biggest mystery is done. The biggest action is over, resurrection, salvation. So now let us concentrate on the little gestures. How he is showing himself to me.